What's up, guys? John Haas here, RN, founder of InterSNG, and today we are going to talk about the flipped classroom. Dun dun dun. Some of you are turning off the episode right now, and some of you are saying, what the hell is a flipped classroom? So we're going to talk about that. I'm maybe going to change some of your minds to say, well, maybe flipped classroom is not that bad. And for those that don't know what a flipped classroom is yet, maybe I'll convince you that it's a good way to do things. We just got to do a better job doing it. So let me define flipped classroom for you. And I'm going to do that with a quote from Duke University. This is a little research they had in one of their journals. They said, in a flipped classroom, rather than lecturing to students in class and then testing them, the instructor gives them the same information by way of online lecture or readings or some combination prior to class. Often they take an online quiz also prior to class. Then in the classroom, the students do activities designed to help them put into practice the concepts they learned before they arrive. So that is the definition of a flipped classroom, and that's how it should be done. That you're given all this information ahead of class, you can dive in, you can study, you can kind of learn the way you like to learn best, whether that's visual, kinesthetic, auditory, whatever it is. Then you're also given a quiz to say, well, I kind of get this, or I kind of don't get this. Then when you arrive to class, you're given activities to help reinforce that learning by someone who's been there. Someone who's taking care of a patient like this, and they're helping reinforce that learning and help kind of start where you left off and kind of carry you through to that mastery level. Here's a study. This was the most cited study in all nursing journals about the flipped classroom. This is what they said. Though there has been a shift towards the flipped classroom, comparatively little is known about how it is used in nursing curricula. So everybody's jumping on this. It's almost like Pogs in the 90s. It's like everybody's jumping on it and doing it, but no one knows why the hell we're playing this game. It's like, it's just cardboard, you know? So it's the same as this. It's like flipped classroom has become this buzzword that everybody's jumping on, but they don't know how to do it. And we don't even know if it works. From that same article, they said, however, no studies identified the evaluation of the process of implementing the flipped classroom. Studies examining the process and ongoing evaluation and refinement of the flipped classroom in higher education nursing programs are warranted. So they do this whole study, and they're kind of supporting it still, but then they're saying, there's actually no studies saying that this works, or how it should be implemented. So that's what I feel is really missing from the flipped classroom, is the idea of it makes a lot of sense. You know, we give students tools and everything that they need to learn something ahead of time, and then when they get to the educator, we help reinforce everything, and we help fill in those gaps that they maybe missed on their own. Instead, what's happening a lot of times is educators are saying, we're going to talk about chapter 15, go home and learn chapter 15. Then when they get to the classroom, they're given a test. You know, so that's not flipped classroom. That's not letting the students learn and engaging them and talking with them. It's leaving the students to drown and to suffer and to die. I mean, it just makes sense. The idea of it makes sense, but the way it's being done makes zero sense. The example I kind of thought of is it's similar to someone giving me a Russian novel and saying, tomorrow we're going to talk about everything you learned. I can't learn that. In nursing, it's nearly impossible for a student who's never seen heart failure, who's never talked to a patient about it, who's never learned about it, to go and teach themselves heart failure. That doesn't make sense. You can't just give them a book in a language they don't understand and then expect them to come back and be able to master that topic. It just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't work. I did a little poll of our users on Facebook, and I said, how many of you use flipped classroom, how many of you like it, and how many of you have never heard of it? 83% said they hate flipped classroom. 17% said they loved it. And then in the comments, it was clear to see those that loved it, it was being implemented much better than those that hated it. Those that hated it were saying things like, we were just given chapters and had no idea what to do. My grades tanked immediately. Flipped classroom is so hard. Now, flipped classroom shouldn't be hard for the student. It should be an improvement. It should be better for them. One girl said, Teresa, she said, okay, so the first time we did flipped classroom, we had no instruction on what to do to prepare for class and hated it. So they're saying, we're flipped classroom now, so that means here's your book. Good luck on the test. That doesn't work. I believe that there's a better solution to this, and I believe that it can be done the right way. And I believe that it can be implemented in a way that makes it the best way to learn and a very appropriate way to learn. So here's the solution. If you're currently in a flipped classroom, or if you're an educator at a university that does flipped classroom, InterSNG needs to be your best friend. NRSNG is the perfect solution to flipped classroom. The way NRSNG works is for every lesson that we have up there, it's short, it's to the point, it talks about those main, most important concepts by a nurse who just took care of a patient with that disease process, and we address every learning style, meaning there's visual, there's kinesthetic, there's auditory, there's text. So no matter how you like to learn, there's a lesson that has your learning style in it, taught by a master educator who just took care of that patient on their last shift. So what you need to do if you're an educator or if you're a nurse is, well, first, if you're an educator, you need to reach out to us so that we can help you guys get NRSNG implemented at your school. If you're a student, what you need to do is go get your NRSNG account. It's free. If you already have it, make sure you're using it. So what you do is you review the lectures prior to class. If you're about to review heart failure tomorrow, I want you to go into the academy, watch the heart failure lesson, review the heart failure cheat sheets, and read the outline. Okay, just stop there, because then you'll have the basics of what you need to do really well in a flipped classroom. Then I want you to take the quiz. The quiz will say, okay, here's 10, 15 questions about heart failure. How are you understanding it? Did you score 20%? Did you score 100%? That'll give you kind of a gauge on how well you understood everything you just learned in the academy. Then I want you to go to class, and I want you to discuss and participate. So many of our users are saying if they're in a flipped classroom, that the educator starts approaching them saying, where are you getting all this information? How do you know all this stuff? It's because they're being taught by phenomenal educators who can provide this information inside the academy. Then after class, I want you to come back to the academy, and I want you to complete the deeper learning activities, the things like the case studies and the care plans on that same topic. The academy has those in there. So before class, you're really getting the high level. Here's the video, here's the text, here's a quiz, here's some cheat sheets. Then you go to class, you discuss it, you see what other points your educator brings up, what other things might be on your upcoming test. Then you go back to the academy and you do those deeper learning things, the care plans, the case studies that really help reinforce the things even better. I want you guys to imagine an environment where students are assigned NRSNG lectures and then arrive at class and the educator becomes the facilitator. How incredible is that? And that can be done at such a massive scale that every student nurse has access to these incredible educators, these incredible resources, and then the nurse educator at the college becomes a facilitator of discussion and a facilitator of everything that they've just learned. What an amazing way to learn. You guys, if you're in a flipped classroom, make NRSNG be your #1 study tool. Review things before class, then come back and get that all reinforced. There's so much there, and we cover everything you need to know in nursing school. It's the best way to learn nursing, and I know it will make an immediate impact in your grades. We love you guys. We thank you so much for being a part of this NRSNG family. If you guys are struggling with flipped classroom, please reach out to us. Contact at nrsng.com. We can help you get study plans set up. We even have free onboarding calls where we can get into your account. We can set up a study plan for you. We can walk you through everything, and it will make an immediate impact in your whole nursing school experience. We want you guys to succeed. Please know that you can do this, all right? Being part of the NRSNG family is more than just logging into NRSNG. It's being part of this community, part of this family who's working to end the nursing shortage. So with that said, guys, go out and be your best selves today. Happy nursing.